All right, so now I'm going to show you how to make a graph in Google Sheets and also insert error bars. So this table that you're looking at should look very familiar to you. I posted it on the previous video of how to conduct the average standard deviation in a t-test in Google Sheets. A couple of things that look different. I shortened the average because that will be important, that will be important for when we add them into our graph because we don't want a 15-digit number on there. So I simplified that. And some other things that we need to do is relabel a few things. And the first thing that we need to relabel is this title. So this is your change in your heart rate for walking. So change in heart rate walking, if I can type that correctly, and then change in heart rate in push-ups. Okay. So now life is good. We're going to highlight these four cells, and then we're going to go up to insert to chart, which is also known as your graph. And then we're going to go, it's already in a column chart for us. Lovely. A couple of things. You can leave the legend. There's just a few things that you can do to customize. You can leave the legend here. That's fine. You can put it on the bottom. I don't really have a preference. But some things that we need to add, you'll notice that the X and Y axes are missing. There's a title missing, and that's when we can do all this fun customization to our graph. If you do not have, if it does not go directly into a column graph or bar graph, the chart style is where you'll be able to pick the different types of graphs. And now we need to go to chart title and axes. So now we have the chart title, and we can let's just make this so this video stays short and we can just simplify things. Change in heart rate for walking and push-ups. So change in heart rate, change in, let's call it in resting heart rate after walking . Okay, now if I can just get it right. And now we have a title, and we can also go, this is where we can go to our horizontal axes and our vertical. So our vertical, or our Y axes, we will title heart rate. And we should have some units, and we'll have some uncertainties. This is plus or minus 1 beats per minute, so BPM. Lovely. And then we have our horizontal axes. And then we have down here, we have the activity. Okay. And that would be walking and push-ups, just for simplicity. Okay, here, and then I can skip over. We'll skip over series. As you can see, that's where the error bars are going to come in. Just for a second, we'll enter our data labels. Lovely. And we have our means, which is what we want. And now we can enter our error bars. Now, this is where they're not right. And this is where I said you can't just click error bars and it's like, oh yay, life is good. No. So we need to make sure we have not all series. We're going to click on change in heart rate for walking. Yay. We're going to change this to a constant, and you're going to highlight your standard deviation and copy, and and go back to Customize, Series. That's annoying. Why did it do that? We'll just keep going, and we will add our standard deviation. Lovely. Now, we will then go to this one, our change in heart rate for push-ups. Again, and I did not want that to click off. And then Command copy, customize, back to series, error bars, constant. And now we have our error bars are entered on our standard deviation to show the variability in our graph. And then this is where you can play with the scales, and you can, jazz up your graph however you want and play around with that. And I encourage you to do so. You can do this for the Chips Ahoy versus the generic version. And you'll see, looking at this graph, oh no, what happened? That there's a lot of variability in our data, especially for the change in heart rate and push-ups. And if you look at the data, it makes sense. If I can move this graph over, that would be great. Right, we have a lot of different, people's heart rates, or the test subjects. We have, 20, 23, 22. Then we have somebody that has, -2. I mean, were they just laying there? Were they doing push-ups? I don't know. So that's going to give us a different, and that's going to show us the variability in our data, and that's why we do the error bars within the graph and on standard deviation. So now you know how to insert error bars, and really what you should do in the future when you're doing this for your lab. Obviously you're gonna compute your mean and standard deviation, and then make the graph, and then you'll see if you have your error bars, and if they slightly overlap, if there's small overlappage, then you're going to conduct your t-test to see if there's a significant difference or not. Right now we're solely just practicing how to conduct a t-test and then insert error bars, and so this is just really an exercise to make sure we know how to do this. So you will be submitting this to me. Stay tuned of how I will be collecting the graph for your chocolate chip lab, and good luck. If you have questions, please don't hesitate to ask.